Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome inside the FamilyDeal.com 7 Sports Cave. I am your host, Justin Rose. On tonight's show, we're talking Michigan. We're talking Michigan State. We're talking Pistons beer. We're talking Detroit Lions, and that's exactly where we're going to start our conversation tonight. The next 3 games, starting with today, huge games for the Lions because they're going to tell us basically exactly what type of season the Lions were going to have. 3 straight games against 3 straight teams with losing records. If this team is interested in even sticking around for a playoff chance, getting off to a good start against the Giants today, a must, especially after losing the last 3 games. They got off to a hot start thanks in large part to the defense. There was a lot better pressure today. Daniel Jones taken down, throws the ball backwards. Devon Kennard, he picks it up for the scoop and the score. 7-0 Lions. Marvin Hall's that kid that does that one thing really well, like spit bubbles or ping pong or whatever. Every game he's getting something over 40 yards. That one from 49 for a touchdown. 14-0, but back-to-back Darius Slayton touchdown grabs for the Giants got him back in it. They did miss an extra point. At half, it was 17-13. Lions were up in front. Kenny Golladay, he really came alive in the second half. 9-yard touchdown catch right there. Great awareness of his feet to get those down. Kenny Golladay starting to play like a huge big-time receiver. Golden Tate said after the game, he is a big-time player in this league. How about a trick play? J.D. McKissick gets the handoff, throws it back to Stafford. Stafford to Golladay for his second touchdown of the day. 41 yards. Golladay into the fans. Giants would score another touchdown, but the Lions, they recover an onside kick, hold on to win it 31-26. They're all happy with the win, but they know that they need to use this as motivation moving forward.
A team effort, Tracy went down there for a little bit. Our defense was, thin in some spots, and I thought those guys played extremely tough and did a nice job. Obviously, open the game scoring with those guys was awesome. A huge play by DK to pick that thing up and go score with it. The rest of the day it was everybody. It takes everybody.
I feel like we did a better job stopping the run against a very talented back, one of the best backs I've ever played against personally. So, I'm proud of what we did, but we got to build upon it and try to keep it rolling.
We just got to build on it. We go out to Oakland next week. We just got to stack them together now. Still got a lot of football left.
Now, a familiar face in the game today was Golden Tate. He had a homecoming. He's, of course, with the Giants now. He spent 4.5 seasons with Detroit, but after he was traded to Philly last year, he found a new home with the Giants. 8 catches for 85 yards today, and after the game, obviously a popular guy for everyone to catch up with and mingle. He told me that today was definitely different. Even though it was a loss on the field, it was a special memory.
But there was a lot of emotion, a lot of happiness, a little bit of anger, and kind of the want to just win the game. But overall, it was great to see a lot of people who played a huge part of my career and got me to this point to earn another contract. So forever thankful to the Detroit Lions organization.
All right, we're back down here at Ford Field. Michael Rothstein from ESPN.com, the Lions beat writer, and, well, this was kind of the medicine that this team needed, and it came at a really good time after the 3-game skid where it kind of seemed like the season might have been slipping. Look, this is the NFL. Winning seems to cure all, but the Lions, got the win, but they still have some warts they need to kind of work on.
Oh, there's no doubt. Listen, 31-26 over the Giants. That's a helpful thing. You saw a pass rush for the first time since week 1. You saw a bunch of things work well offensively. Matthew Stafford continuing his torrid pace. But there's got to be some concerns, and to me it starts in that defensive backfield because of injuries. Yeah. Darius Slay doesn't play today with a hamstring injury. Quandre Diggs is out in Seattle where he's still getting used to the defense. And then they lose Tracy Walker. We don't know for how long. We don't know if it's a minor thing or something to be really concerned about. But that safety depth that they had, which frankly was maybe the deepest position on the team for a while, now you're looking at Tavon Wilson, Miles Killebrew, who's mostly a special teams guy and kind of a linebacker, and then 2 rookies in C.J. Moore and Will Harris. So that huge depth that you had is now pretty tenuous on the back end. So if I'm the Lions, from an injury perspective, I'm potentially concerned, but also, there's a lot of things they need to clean up offensively. Still haven't been able to really run the ball all that well. And pressure is nice on Daniel Jones, but they still didn't get home all that much.
Right. The energy level, I think, from the get-go. Look, good plays, obviously. DK scooping up and scoring is going to, light a fire under a team. But even before that, it felt like they were playing with a little bit more desire this week. And I know we joked last week because the referees made the big boos and that kind of got things going. But I think that the Lions approached this game a little bit more dominant will. Did you see that?
I think so, but I also think it was who they were playing. I mean, remember, this is an offense that beyond Saquon Barkley, like Golden Tate's still a good player. You saw that out on the field today, but he's not the Golden Tate that the Lions fans are used to seeing when he was in his prime. Darius Slayton's turning into a nice player, but like Darius Slayton's not going to scare you a ton at this point. This was not a great offense that they were playing by any stretch of the imagination other than Saquon Barkley. I thought they did a decent job, by the way, on Saquon, considering that, but defensively, I still have concerns and questions about them. Frankly, probably they could have really good performances the next 2 weeks against Oakland and Chicago as well, but until they do something maybe against Dallas, if you shut Dallas down and have good performances along the way, then I think you can really believe that this defense is turning a corner.
So what do Lions fans sitting at home right now going, oh, they got the win, 3-3-1 on the season. We know it was against a lower team, a team that's not really, and same with Oakland maybe next week, and then Chicago the week after that. What should Lions fans feel today, right now?
You're still alive. I mean, listen, Green Bay and Minnesota, both playing really well. You get them both again at the end of the season. Green Bay here, Minnesota at Minnesota, but you get them both in December. If you're still afloat then, you've got a shot. And really, today was all about keeping your season alive and keeping yourself in play and in pace. It's going to be tough to get a division title, I think, at this point. It's going to also be really tough to get a wild card because Seattle's playing really well and San Francisco's just crushing everybody. So really, the two wild card spots at this point, I think you look at are one from the north, one from the west. And I think the question is, can the Lions play well? I said earlier this week to a couple people, I felt like they needed to win 4 of the next 5 in order to really still be in contention going into December. And one of those is out of the way. So I think that that's a realistic thing for them. You win all 5, you're in I think, a much better spot. But you win 4 out of your 5, then you're what? 6-4-1. And I think you're at least talking about having a shot because you do get Minnesota again, you do get Green Bay again at that point, and you've got Tampa smushed in there, and I don't think the Bucs are all that good. So that's where they are.
Trade deadline is Tuesday. Does this team make a move? We've heard running back. We've heard maybe they're going to sell Darius Slay out there for somebody who might be looking for a guy like that. I mean, what do they do? Because I think fans are now thinking, okay, they won this game. They can't sell the farm because the season, as you said, is still alive, and there is still hope for this team. What are they doing? Anything? Standing pat? Making a move? What do you think? If you had to guess.
If I had to guess, I think you're staying put. But you can't move Darius Slay at this point. You just can't. Sure, the defense played okay today, but again, you have to remember it's against Daniel Jones and a bunch of not good receivers other than Golden Tate.
I was really looking forward to the Slay on Slayton matchup for the guy who played better would have been said big play Slay. That's what I was trying to say.
Fair, absolutely.
And Slayton had a great game. Darius, we don't know because he didn't play.
We don't even know if he was here today. Matt Patricia wouldn't even say that.
That is interesting.
So, although I don't totally buy into that yet because injured guys, sometimes that doesn't happen.
Okay.
But I just can't see them trading Darius Slay at this point because they won, because it would send such a bad message to this locker room at this point. And he is your best defensive player, injured, even hobbled or not. Certainly he's your best cornerback. To me, I'm looking at maybe running back. Didn't really love what I saw out there today from that running back by committee. I still think Ty Johnson's got a lot of potential. Trey Carson impressed me more, and J.D. McKissic has a role. But if you can get a home run hitter,
you need
like
Melvin
Gordon,
or even
Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake apparently
he didn't even travel with Miami.
Exactly. So that means probably they were going to maybe move him. You go there, you add a guy like that, and then you've got a Drake, Johnson, McKissic backfield, or Drake, Carson, McKissic, whatever
you shake it out to.
That gives you a formidable running attack with what Matthew Stafford's doing this year. I think that gives you a really good offense, and then Slay comes back at some point, is his old self. You've got a decent defense, and that gives you a shot. So I would maybe go out, get a running back. Maybe if there's an offensive lineman to be had, you look at that, maybe shore up that whole guard situation. And I mean, if you can get a guy on the cheap kind of like what they did with Snacks Harrison a year ago, where you can trade for a difference maker in a 5th rounder. I mean, not that I don't think Denver's giving away any of their difference makers. I don't think Atlanta's giving away any of their difference makers for 5th rounders like Von Miller or Keanu Neal or Deion Jones. But I mean, I'm making all those calls because if I get one of those for a 4th or 5th rounder, I do it immediately because that makes your team that makes your team a contender, even with the record you've got right now, because that's a playmaker. And I think defensively, they're still missing some playmakers. Offensively, they could really use a running back to kind of smooth it all out.
Michael Rothstein, ESPN.com. Read his stuff. Just read it. Just go there and read his stuff. He'll be on the road with the team the next couple of weeks before the Lions come back to Ford Field. All right, thanks, me and Michael Rothstein. Meanwhile, over at Little Caesars Arena, Red Wings hosting the Blues. Detroit down 3-2 in the third. Valtteri Filppula scoring his first of the season. Ties the game at 3, nearly right off the draw. Tyler Bertuzzi buries his 5th of the year. He's second only to Anthony Mantha in scoring on the team. Red Wings grab a 4-3 lead, but that wouldn't be able to maintain it. Blues on the power play. Ryan O'Reilly, second of the game, ties it at 4. We're going to overtime. How about David Perron sends one past Jonathan Bernier? Bernier can't believe it. Soft goal. Red Wings get the point, but it's their 8th straight loss. Yikes, 5-4 the final.
We all believe in each other, and the talk in the room in the past little bit is it's got to be the guys in here to turn this around and to get that win out of the way. And we were close tonight, but unfortunately against the defending Stanley Cup champions, close isn't good enough. And we believe in each other, and that's the way we have to play to be successful. And if we play like that, most nights we're going to get wins.
Final round of the Zozo Championship in Japan. Tiger Woods finishes at 19 under par. He wins by 3 strokes, ties Sam Snead with the most PGA Tour victories at 82. Beginning of the season. Excited for more Tiger Woods this season. All right, coming up next, a quick outfit change back down to the set downstairs, and Tom Van Haren from ESPN breaks down Michigan and Michigan State with me. You won't want to miss that. That's coming up next on FamilyDeal.com. 7 Sports. Tom Van Haren from ESPN joins me now to talk more about a busy day in college football around this area. Obviously, let's start with the winning team. Michigan gets the monkey off their back. I mean, second time under Jim Harbaugh. I mean, that's how little we're saying they're beating top 10 teams. But it was a big one, especially with the way that this season kind of was feeling like it was going to go. For them to come out and have a complete effort yesterday, I mean, that shocked a lot of people.
The defense, I really think in this game, though, they held Notre Dame under 50 yards rushing. They had quarterback Ian Book seemed like under pressure the whole game. It was really a defensive effort that we've come to know from Michigan, and we didn't really see a consistent effort in the beginning of the season, and they kept telling us, you're going to see it. You're going to see it. It's going to be there. We finally saw it against Notre Dame, a pretty good defense. Not great, but pretty good offense.
Yeah.
And so I was pretty impressed with that. But the offense for Michigan, quarterback Shea Patterson looks a lot more comfortable. The ground game, though, Michigan had to get the run game going. 303 yards on the ground. That's really what did it for Michigan.
And absolutely, they needed to get that running game going. They talked about winning up front. And the big knock on Harbaugh for a long time, even past seasons, but especially this year, was who's winning up front.
Right.
Michigan has not been winning defensively in that front. The offensive line, I mean, they're starting to see confidence. Brad Galley was talking to the players, talking about them feeling more confident. Where does this put Michigan as they go? Notre Dame didn't have any implications on the Big Ten race. It didn't help or hurt them, but it certainly feels like this Michigan team going into Maryland next week, having a bye week, returning home to take on Michigan State, who's obviously struggling right now. I mean, could Michigan win out until that Ohio State game and then kind of see where their season hangs at that game?
Yeah, I think it's changed the trajectory for them. The way that we're talking about this program, in the beginning of the season, after that Wisconsin game, had you said that Michigan probably has a really good shot of going out, beating Notre Dame, and then beating Michigan State, I probably would have said you were crazy. After what we saw against Wisconsin, I just don't think that was there. Now, heading into those two games. Maryland has looked inconsistent throughout this whole year. I think Michigan has a really good chance to beat them. And Michigan State, the way that they're playing right now, Michigan has to be the favorite in that game. And the way that Michigan's offense is running, they've got a really good shot at beating them, and maybe a little bit of confidence headed into Ohio State.
Certainly will be interesting to follow them because we know how quickly these things can happen. What if they lay an egg next week at Maryland, go into the bye week, and all of a sudden they're forgotten about for a week? So it'll be interesting to see how Michigan plays out. On the flip side of that, Michigan State, the third time in school history they played 3 top 10 teams back-to-back. I mean, look, it's tough sledding. Don't get anybody wrong. No one's going to say they're playing cream puffs in East Lansing. But that effort yesterday, the way that they tried to execute things on offense, no flow to it. The defense has been giving up 400-yard games to everybody. I mean, what do you make of Michigan State? I mean, you were at that game, and you said it felt dead in that place.
Yeah, it was. It was dead. There was no juice. There was no energy. You know, I was on one of the post-game shows on Channel 7, and Darian Harris sat where I'm sitting. I asked him about this team, and I think something that struck me most, that it stuck out to me too, was this team. It doesn't have the same mentality as some of the other teams in the past, where they have that chip on the shoulder, they have that dog mentality, or they go into games and they think they can push people around. You just don't see that from these teams. You mentioned the defense. They usually rely on the defense to keep them in games. Over the last few games now against some of these top teams in the Big Ten, they've given up a ton of points, over 100 points. They're only scoring 17 points against Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, Wisconsin. You can't win those games that way. It's just, something that we spoke about too, I think, with the defense. Kenny Willekes, his performance over some of these past Big Ten games, I looked up his stats. The last 4 Big Ten games prior to the Penn State game, only 6 quarterback pressures, 0 sacks.
I mean, this is a guy that people thought might be a fringe first, second round type pick after last season, the way that he could disrupt the backfield. Is Mark D'Antonio losing control on what's going on in East Lansing? Because it certainly feels that way. His comment after the game saying that, hey, at least we're not 2-7. We're 4-4. At least we're not 2-7. Take a look at the bright side. Paraphrasing, but that's pretty accurately what he said. I mean, the announcers yesterday, even them were saying, usually he says, like, we're going to fight for it. He said, I'm just enjoying the ride. I mean, are we starting to see the beginning of the end? Has it been kind of in the works?
It seems that way, doesn't it? And I don't think he's lost his team. I don't want anybody to get that misconstrued. I think this team is still fighting for him. I think they're still trying to win games. But like I said, that fight isn't there anymore. That passion isn't there. And we saw during the game from past players on Twitter what they were tweeting about this game, saying, I don't see it. What's going on with this team? It's different. It's way different than it has been in the past, and I do think that it just feels different the way he's talking and the way that he's coaching these games. I know he's gotten a lot of criticism for the coaching changes or the lack of coaching changes he had. And that press conference that he had a few games ago when he was asked about that, and he shooted off. I don't know if I can repeat the words he used on Channel 7, but he shooted off as if it were nothing. That struck me as very, very odd that he didn't see or didn't care to see the problems with this team, because they're glaring at this point. 8 weeks through now, the problems are glaring and they're not getting fixed.
Somebody needs to do this. I know Twitter is a strong place, so I'm challenging you. We need to see Mark D'Antonio photoshopped on one of the band members for the Titanic as the Titanic's going down. He's staying and playing. He's staying and playing with his guys.
Captain's got to go down with the ship,
Captain's got to go down with the ship. We don't want to see it that way, but at the same time, it seems to be headed in that direction. All right, great stuff, man. Appreciate it. Catch him on ESPN.com, and we'll be right back here on the 7 Sports Cave. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the Family Deal 7 Sports Cave. The Pistons sit 1-2 on the young season. They held their first 2 home games of the year this past week. Now, next time you check out a game at Little Caesars Arena, there's a new beer out there by Atwater Brewery in partnership with the Detroit Pistons. I took a trip to the brewery to check it out. Now that the Pistons move downtown is official, it seems like everyone wants to be a part of the new kid in town. And now another long-standing Detroit institution has done just that. Atwater Beer just teamed up with the Pistons to put out a new product, a beer named Triple Double.
Anything that has to do from an excitement perspective with the city of Detroit, we would love to be a part of, and this is just an absolute no-brainer. Hardworking beer for hardworking people. Kind of that was the concept, is, Detroit made beer for, the Detroit Pistons, the team, everybody that follows it, so it made a lot of sense for us.
Now, if you're a beer drinker, you know that Atwater has an unbelievable selection of beers, over 40 of them, especially here on tap at the brewery. But the Triple Double is the only active lifestyle beer that they make. Low APV, low calories, so anyone who likes to drink beer doesn't have to worry about those extra calories after living that active lifestyle.
This day and age, people are working out more often, they're health conscious. And so why not come out with a beer that makes a lot more sense for those customers? The light bulb kind of went off and said, why don't we do that and coincide that with the Pistons-made beer? You run a game of basketball, you're done, you want to have a refreshing beer. Why not have a lower alcohol, low calorie, keep you light on your feet, and that's kind of where the concept came from.
Delicious stuff. Tried it. It's really good. Bought some, took it home. Have it now. Make sure you check it out when you go down to Little Caesars Arena or their brewery, which is awesome down on the riverfront in downtown Detroit. All right, coming up next, we got to talk more about this Mark D'Antonio Michigan State debacle that we're seeing right now. A few final thoughts. That's next on the 7 Sports Cave. Stay with us. Welcome back to the FamilyDeal.com 7 Sports Cave. We're going to have our Leo's Coney Island Game of the Week vote starting tomorrow. The playoff pairings were out tonight. The game times and the dates will be scheduled tomorrow. So, of course, we're going to have that for you tomorrow during our newscast at 6 o'clock and beyond that. So make sure you get to voting for that. All right, back to Michigan State. Mark D'Antonio is barely above 500 in the last 3 seasons as head coach at the Michigan State University. It's been a struggle. I mean, look, they've played 3 top 10 opponents for the 3rd time in school history, getting beat pretty badly, only mustering 17 points, getting outscored by about 100 to that. Look, Mark D'Antonio probably knows the writing is on the wall. He's either got to let his coaching staff move on or he's got to go with them. It's a tough thing to do. I mean, the guy is going to have a statue at some point. He's the winningest coach of all time. But Mark, it's not working, man. And you got to shake it up, because at the end of the day, as you have said multiple times, I'm the head coach of this program, and I'm the one who's in charge. Have a great week. We'll see you next week.